I'll tell a little different story. It has to do with ping pong though. I don't know what year it was, but late 70s when your house burned down. Anyway, Pat and Karen and Josh and Casey came to live with us for about a year, or about a month. Might have seemed like a year. Anyway, every night Pat and I played ping pong until we couldn't walk anymore. And we dragged ourselves back upstairs. We were on a bowling team at the time, and we had bowling against a team that had two young guys from Holman. Pat and I were in late 20s, and these two guys had just graduated high school, and they were bragging about how good they were playing ping pong. So they challenged us to a match for a beer. And they came over to my house, and we were playing, and kid hits a great shot, and Pat goes diving on the cement floor, returns the shot, does a forward roll. I have a storm door set against the other wall. He smashes into the storm door, glass all over the place. Kid returns a shot, I hit a shot. Kid hits another shot, Pat comes running back full speed, slams the ball. The kids look at him, he's got blood running down his arm. We're playing ping pong. He's got blood running down his arm. My door is completely smashed. The kids look at us for a few minutes, put their paddles down and says, we'll buy a beer next week. That was Pat and I playing ping pong. The neat thing about it, contrary to what Greg says, is Pat and I approached it the same way. The competition was the important stuff, not the winning. And he and I played softball, we bowled, we played ping pong, we played tennis, we played racquetball, we played backgammon, we played Risk. Karen played Risk with us. And Karen, you want to talk about mind games, Karen would get Pat going so bad that he would just be fuming because she would have cut through him for no reason at all. She couldn't win by doing that, but she'd destroy him. And that was the joy of playing Risk with Pat and Karen. And we had another couple who we played with. We did that for probably once a week for 2 years maybe. And we wore several Risk games out because Pat got a little frustrated when he'd lose. And it seemed like we always had a way of Karen beating him. One final thing. How we met Pat and Karen. We were Barb and I had just gotten married, and we were in a couples bowling league at the university, and our opponents were Pat and Karen. And I don't know who their partners were, who our partners were, but Karen had trouble finding her bowling ball one time. So the next time she came up to bowl, I went over and picked up her ball and gave it to her just so she could find it this time. And Pat says to me, you don't want to tease her. She gets even. She's been getting even for 50 some years since then. Whenever she can, she gets even. But I have to tell a story on Karen then. That summer, we knew nobody in lacrosse. We were living in lacrosse. I had gotten a job, and Barb still had school to go to. And I'm playing softball for a team in lacrosse, and we're playing against Pat's team. And after the game, Pat comes over and he sits and, like Greg said, sits and talks. So he's talking to us. He says, why don't you guys come over Friday night for dinner at our house? Come over, we'll eat at about 5:30. Well, I was working full time then. I said, okay, we can make it 5:30. So I got home at 5 o'clock and hustled up and got over to Pat and Karen's house at 5:30. We walk in and Karen's sitting at the kitchen table. Pat's not any place around. And Karen says, why are you guys here? And I said, well, Pat told us to come over and you were going to make dinner for us tonight. We were. What? Did he? I don't know. Did he tell us that? Tell me that. I said, well, where is he? Well, he went to the grocery store to get something for me to cook for supper. I said, well, see, he's there. Well, it's 6 o'clock. Pat comes walking in. And by this time, we're getting pretty hungry. And Karen still hasn't figured out what we're going to have. And I'm feeling kind of... So Karen says, you want some wine? Now, I'm not a big drinker, but I like wine. And Karen likes wine. We finished the first bottle of wine. We hadn't eaten yet. And then we finished a homemade bottle of wine while we were eating.
Pat and I had none.
Pat and Barb did not drink any wine.
None.
And then we had the third bottle of wine, and then we played cards after a while, and Karen says, I don't think we've got any more in the house. And I think that's probably the only time you and I ever been drinking together, but it was a fun night, and it was a fun way to meet a couple that we couldn't have had closer friends than Pat and Karen. We were at their house, or they were at our house. Josh and Kesa and Anna basically lived at our house for a long time. There are parts of our house that are dedicated to Anna because she set up the stage there. And whenever somebody's in that area, we say, "Oh, that's Anna's stage. You can't do anything up there." They were our closest friends, and will be remembered forever. Thank you.